Oh, if you thought things were bad for the Golden State Warriors before tonight's game, they're getting bleak fast. Jonathan Kuminga makes an appearance, looks damn good, and then gets hurt, rolls an ankle. They're diagnosing it as a ankle sprain, slight hyperextension of the knee. Reports indicating he's going to be okay, but bigger picture, this is first of all, let's hope he's going to be okay soon. So this is not a lingering thing. And again, this is why you need to play your players extensively to learn about them, because if he's injury prone, you could have moved on from this 2 years ago instead of waiting till now to learn about whether or not the man has durability. I digress. The Golden State Warriors start a 4-game road trip. They go to Dallas. They get their asses kicked. Final score 123-115. As the Warriors drop to 15-21. NBA Hall of Famer, one of the top 50 greatest players in the history of the game, Rick Barry, is going to join me in moments. You heard his son on the broadcast as the color commentator. Side note, if you're ever wondering who is at the top of my wish list as the next head coach of the Golden State Warriors, and you watch the game tonight on Prime, you listen to him all game. That's my guy. I want Brent. I mean, who knows how realistic that is, but this is depressing in terms of who the Warriors are, where the Warriors are at, because Wardell is Wardell. Stephen Curry was, again, fantastic tonight. What I don't understand is why his head coach thinks he needs to be surrounded by the most anemic talent on the team. The Warriors were in this game, and then the fourth quarter rolls around, and Kerr thinks the brilliant idea is to surround Steph with a rotation of GP2, Brandon Pajemski, Moses Moody, and Al Horford. I mean, this is a head coach that preaches spacing. Where's the spacing there? If you're an NBA defense and you see Steph and you see those four, none of those dudes would frighten a mice. No disrespect to Al Horford, who has had moments this year shooting the three ball. Not tonight. No disrespect to Moses Moody, who actually shot well tonight. Had a so-so game. But this is Steph we're talking about here. You have better players on your team. And yet this is what we're rolling with. I see the Hall of Famer waiting. I'm going to stop griping. Let's hit the show open and bring the Hall of Famer on so you can stop hearing my voice and listen to one of the greatest to ever do it. Valid opinions, far more valid than mine. We are powered by FanDuel. This is the Golden Days. Let's go. Welcome to the program. Much more importantly than me is the gentleman next to me, one of the greatest ever. Literally, the NBA ranked him in the top 50 of the all-time greats. They technically list 75 of them, which is all the more reason that's such an honorable title. He also wears the coat that represents the Hall of Famer. You were listening to his son on the broadcast tonight, and now you're going to listen to Papa Bear. Rick Barry joins me, the Hall of Famer. You can follow him on all social media platforms at Rick24Barry. Rick, I was just expressing my disdain for the rotations surrounding. I texted you the same thing. I don't understand what the logic is surrounding Stephen Curry with a lineup of non-playmakers. That's what those four guys are to me. I'll shut up now. How are you doing, sir? Great to see you on a late edition for your appearances, contrary to what we typically see.
Well, I'm a late person. My wife goes to bed early. I'm late night. Used to being up late after basketball games, I guess. Yeah, this is. I'm sad. You know, it's 2 years in a row now when the Warriors got their stuff together late last season, and then Steph goes down. It looked like they might have been able to do something. It looked like they were finally getting things turned around a little bit in a positive note here, and then Jimmy goes down. Yeah, but that's sports. I mean, you just don't know what's going to happen when it comes to injuries, unfortunately. And the interesting thing, I was looking to see. I didn't get to see the start of the game, but did Kuminga start?
No, he was off the
I
bench,
know he came off the
and
bench and played really well, and then of course he gets hurt. So, because I was interested to see whether or not they were going to decide to finally give Kuminga a chance to show, hey, here's the deal. What more? What better scenario? What's not a better scenario? What scenario would make the most sense to try to use Kuminga finally after burying him on the bench for all this time, and paying him $25 million to put him in the lineup and see what he can do and find out. Let's say it's a double-edged sword to play with. Okay, so if you do that, it might show that maybe he's not that great and you might not get much for him, okay, if you're going to deal him. But then again, you could find out if he really can be a factor and a force for you. But again, it gets back to Jimmy. Is he going to come back next year and be 100%? I mean, there's no guarantee of that. In basketball, trust me, you lose a half a step in basketball, you're not the same player, okay? You're just not.
agreed.
And so, and then we still have the situation that existed that Steve, for whatever reason, doesn't feel like those guys play well together. So it's such a conundrum that exists right now with the Warriors, but at least maybe they were going to find out what could happen with Kuminga and show that he really has some value. And now, unfortunately, he gets hurt. I mean, if he had a problem with the knee, he could be out for even a more significant period of time. So it's not looking good for the Warriors, and they were playing pretty good. I mean, Kuminga looked darn good in the short time, 10
He
points in
did.
9 minutes. Had a nice line. God, it's just when you're snake bit, you're snake bit.
Yeah.
I just hate to see it. I hate to see it happen to any team, especially to the Warriors. And I would have to agree with you. But we get down to what we talked about before, Cyrus. The problem with this Warriors lineup is that you don't know what you're going to get from the players on this Warrior team night after night. The inconsistency of these players up and down, it's a roller coaster ride for them. One night they're up, one night they're down. Individually, I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And as a coach, it's got to be very frustrating to not know what you're going to get from one of your players each and every night. That it's kind of like a crapshoot. And sometimes it can work, sometimes it doesn't. They just need to have more consistency out of all of their players. But
And coaching. I feel like it's just top to bottom, with the exception of Steph. By the way, did you watch the game? At least most of it.
no, it was fun because I got a chance to listen to Brent, and I think here's the thing. I think Brent really hit on it, really good with the Draymond situation. And Draymond has to understand. The Warriors had a nice 8-point lead there, at the beginning in that fourth quarter.
I was going to lead into that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they had they looked like they had a chance to control the game and maybe come away with a victory. And then, then they let Dallas back in the game, which they have a propensity to do. I talk about this all the time. It just kills me to see how many times they let teams back in the game, especially at home. But then when the game is still close and it's all on the line, then Draymond just does what Draymond does at times.
Melts down. Yeah.
It was the old Draymond, and the same thing. Like Brent mentioned it. You got to just shut up.
Yes.
You exacerbate things by getting into the face and talk to the officials and keep it up. And look what happened. Look at how many free throws the Dallas Mavericks got from that point to open the game up and wind up coming away with a victory and getting control of the basketball game. It changed the whole dynamic of the
Agreed.
game when
Agreed.
Draymond went through that period and committed all those fouls. And then, of course, got the flagrant foul. It's so discouraging to see that. And I just have a real issue with that. I mean, he has to understand. He has to understand the impact that he can have on the game. So I was happy that Brent mentioned it because I think it needed to be mentioned. It was not good. He hurt the team a lot by doing what he did at that point in the basketball game, without question. And he should understand that, and he should take responsibility for that. And then the other players have to take responsibility for not being consistent players and playing at the level they need to play. That's a game, despite not having Jimmy and despite Kuminga getting hurt, that they still could have won. So that's the part that's discouraging to me. And here's the other part. Might as well get it all off my chest right away. I got to go to bed because I got to get up tomorrow and go. I'm headed to the Amazon jungle to go fly fishing again for peacock bass.
Incredible. Who are you going with, by the way?
Well, I'm not going with anybody that was like a close friend of mine. The guy who runs the place is a friend, and so I got the chance to go, and I'm going with a lot of other people who run trips and and I'll be with a lot of really good fishermen, so I'll probably learn some good casting stuff and all, and just a great time down there.
And
Anyway,
side note, follow Rick Barry on Instagram at Rick24Barry, and I bring your Instagram account up because you'll post pictures of your adventures.
Hopefully I'll be posting some pictures of some big peacock bass for sure. And if it's bucket list fly fishing, if you want to check out what they do, this is just an amazing. It's a bucket list trip, it really is. And so I got to get up early and do that. So I'm going to go to bed. But it's like anybody can go to the basket anytime they want against this team. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I saw Flag get it, boom, right to the basket. Otherwise, Marshall right to the basket. Nobody concern. They have no concern whatsoever about anybody, especially with the lineup they had in there, of stopping them from going to the basket and getting shots off. I mean, that's the problem when you go and you're going small all the time. I mean, I would love to play against a team like. I'd love to drive to the basket. I'd be going to the basket all day long. It's like a freeway. I mean, come on, it's ridiculous. They just go and here's the sad part. They're getting all the way to the rim. Nobody else is stopping in and make a pass.
Nobody.
Their defense in the fourth quarter protecting the basket was atrocious.
And this is why, Rick, I'm critical routinely of the rotational decisions because, in my opinion, you have better players on your bench who can at least present a defensive presence that's a little intimidating, that does not basically look like a green light to attack and do whatever you want. Never mind, like outside shooting becomes a lot easier when you have a good 4 or 5 inches on your opposition. Far less of an intimidation factor, no impediment visually, physically. It's a free range.
Yeah,
I think
there was no good. The defense was terrible. The defense going to the basket, no help, just coming down, going by people, nobody there to stop them, getting all the way to the rim and laying it in. I mean, it's hard to see. It's hard to watch. The other thing about that I've been watching lately that really perplexes me, it's not just the Warriors, it's every team. How in the world, if you're coaching an NBA team in today's game the way it's played, how do you not take away 3-point open looks?
Right.
I mean, I'm serious.
I know.
And why are you going with philosophy that was back in the day when I played without the 3-point shot mostly, where you want to make the team beat you from the perimeter? Now the worst thing in the world is to give people open shots from the perimeter because it's
Oh, your connection froze on me for a second there. Hope that's on me. Hope folks can see me still as Rick Barry is frozen alongside me due to, I'm guessing, an internet connection, which may or may not be faulty. And again, I hope you folks can hear me and see me. And when we get Rick back, I'm dying to know what his thoughts are. Here, I'll hide him for a second so it isn't. So he's not just looking at his frozen face there. The moment we get Rick back, we'll bring him on. True Mentality, thank you for clarifying that my connection's okay still. We'll get Rick on in just a second. But the Draymond Green portion that he was talking about, that the Hall of Famer was bringing up, which I think was a very valid point. I can't remember if this happened. I think the flagrant call, that's where like the meltdown really started. In case you folks missed the game, didn't watch it, I think it was Norm Powell, or Dwight Powell, I apologize, who was driving by, and Draymond Green, whether it was intentional or not, who knows, but he extends an elbow a little bit, makes contact with Powell's midsection. Powell sells it. It looked like a borderline flop the way Powell responded, and maybe that's why Draymond was so livid about the call to begin with, and the fact that they reviewed it. But at the same time, what Brent was talking about during the broadcast was Draymond Green basically challenging the refs to eject him, challenging them to escalate the situation. I mean, why are you threatening NBA officials? Like in what world does that do you any good? And maybe the worst part of that, Adam Nike, hope I got that right, writing, why are the Warriors still playing small ball? Great question. And we'll play some sound from Steve Kerr tonight if he addresses that, if anybody out there actually asks Steve Kerr a hard question instead of more of the same old bullshit.
Don't give me this Olay bullshit.
Yeah, which is all we get when it comes to the media trying to get answers out of Steve Kerr. Worth mentioning during the pregame press conference tonight, we'll play a lot of sound tonight. There's a lot that came down again as we hope to get Rick Barry back on the show. Hope he's okay, by the way. Usually doesn't just vanish on me like that. Rick, side note, joining us from Florida, 3 hours away. Kind of weird side note that we have as early of a start to a post-game show as we do. It is currently 7:27 Pacific time. The Warriors have not left California, I think, this entire year. Because even though the one road game in the midst of, I believe, in a 12-game stretch, 11 or 12-game stretch, where they had one road game in LA. Okay, so Rick's phone went dead. He's going to join us on his computer in just a second. But the Warriors, schedule-wise, were home, at least in the state of California, since December 31st. They flew back from Charlotte on New Year's Eve, and every broadcast, here's Rick, we got him back, or I'll bring him back on in just a second, but every show since the new year, every game, has been on the West Coast. The one game they did not have a Chase Center was in LA at Intuit Dome. And the moment Rick set up, I'll bring him back on. So anyway, this is a very early start for us, and it timed out perfectly with Rick because it's 10-something East Coast time where he's at. Rick, can you give me a hand signal if you're ready, or the moment you are, just give me a hand signal, and I'll bring you on. I can see you in the green room right now. But yeah, so an early start for us. Great opportunity to bring the Hall of Famer on the program. And it's an early start for us. It kind of, again, feels a little weird. We're as early as we are. I'm going to bring Rick on. Hopefully he's ready to go. You okay? Too soon? Thumbs up? Okay. So your phone died on us. We were talking about that Draymond Green situation real fast. And I agree with Brent's sentiments, which is, why are you challenging the official? Why are you talking to him like you're about to start you're about to engage in a street fight? It was just the level of vitriol, anger, emotion, way too much, especially for that moment when you consider the Warriors were leading at that point. I know Dwight Powell sold that forearm shiver to the gut way too much. Like there was not enough contact there to make Powell react the way he did, like he got shot. But at the
he made where he got hit up in that area. I mean, he could have hit you, and it could have. Oh God! I mean, you sometimes can get a blow there.
You could, and that's true too.
It hit your ribs. It's sore, and it was an overreaction and all, but it still was a ridiculous foul.
It was, and more ridiculous.
Seriously, what purpose did him hitting him with a forearm shiv have to do? It had no bearing on the play. There was no call for it whatsoever. And those are the kind of things that he has to just stop doing, because all they do is create a problem, and he created a problem for the Warriors. The thing I was getting into when my phone died was I was talking about defending the three-point shot. So here's the deal. I think it was 80%, I think statistically, if the team outscores the opposition from three-point range in games in the NBA, 80% of the time that team wins. I think, I'm pretty sure that's the stat that I saw that's run nowadays. So if it's such a high percentage and it's such an integral part of a team's success, how in the world do you allow them to get wide open looks at three-point range? Now, it's one thing if a guy's doing this thing and is hitting a step back. I can live with a guy doing one-on-one step back threes, making those. I can live with that as a coach. What I can't live with is them getting stand-alone, wide-open three-point shots because the guy's not up on his man, or they're going back to the philosophy back. As I say, when I played most of the time in those years, the majority of years, first they didn't have the three-point shot. Then the three-point shot was put in late. And you just didn't have to worry about it. Your defensive philosophy was make them beat you from the perimeter. Well, it's changed. Now you don't want them beating you from the perimeter, especially from threes. So why in the world, if a guy's coming off a screen, first of all, the defender has to be up on the screen guarding it properly to allow his teammate and force the guy out so he can fight over and stay with his man. But even if you don't want to do that and make it simple, just say, hey, when you come down and jump switch it. I mean, he gets jumping so that he can't get a shot. But the other thing is now when a guy does beat his guy and he penetrates, they're going to help him. Now, in the Warriors case, you got nobody to protect there. Well, hey, make him – all right, so play him tough, make him shoot and score the two-point shot, but don't leave a three-point shooter. If you're going to
Exactly.
leave somebody to come and help, you leave the worst 3-point shooter that they have open. And if they can beat you with the guy who's a 20-something% 3-point shooter, you can live with that. But you can't live with opening and leaving to help a 2-point chance against you to give a wide open 3 to a guy who's a 35 to 40-something% 3-point shooter. That just makes no sense whatsoever. But yet teams, watching other games at times when I watch some of the highlights and stuff, I'm going, why did they let these guys get so wide open?
Yeah.
Why is your defense not geared to minimize the number of open looks you give your opposition? That's the point I got to make.
No, it's a valid point. You're absolutely right. I see that routinely where players defensively are still treating the 3-point shot like it's 2000, like it's 1995, where they're oftentimes will just let them shoot it instead of giving them an easier chance to drive. And in today's game, that's the more dangerous shot by a lot. It's not even close. I'm with you. I'm 1,000% with you. I will never understand defenders just letting 3-point attempts being allowed as open as what you're seeing often. And Rick, maybe this is a good correlation here and a good segue, maybe not, but one player, Rick, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this. And I'm not trying to, this is not personal. This is not me like trying to pick on this guy. This is NBA basketball. There's 15 dudes on your team, and sometimes the wrong players are getting the wrong minutes. And the guy I'm talking about specifically is Brandon Podziemski. And this is a strong opinion I have. If you're going to make Brandon Podziemski second on your team in minutes, like he often is, tonight no exception. Stephen Curry plays 34 minutes, 27 seconds, second on the team. Brandon Podziemski, 32 minutes, 35 seconds. And you're not getting offense. You're sometimes getting facilitating. You're not getting defense. There's far more negative than positive from my perspective. I don't get the favoritism there. Steve Kerr clearly loves this guy. I don't see it. I don't get it. And there's a lot of open 3-point shots from the player he's defending. I guess what I'm trying to ask you is, in your opinion, is it justifiable with Brandon Podziemski being second on the team in minutes? And why do you think Kerr loves this guy so much? I do not understand this, Rick. Your thoughts?
I don't know, but I'm going to pull up some of his stats here. But he's one of the guys I talk about that is one of the guys that you don't know what you're going to get. I mean, one game he gets 24. Next game he gets 6.
Yes.
I mean, so how do you rely on a guy here? I'm going to look here at his regular season stuff. So let's go regular season and take a look at some of his stats here that we're doing here. 25, 26. All right. So we'll look here. So I want to get the game stats is what I want to get. You could probably pull them up easier than I can because you're really good.
Are you looking about tonight or on the season?
Pull up Podziemski's game by game statistics right now. Pull up.
Yeah, I'll present it on the screen.
Pull it up and let's look at his point total. At the points scored in the last 10 games. Just for curiosity's sake.
And important to note, 9 of the last 10 were at home. And as with a lot of role players, you see much better numbers when
they usually play way better on the home. So what is it?
With that perspective, here it is, and I hope you can see it on your screen. Okay, I'll articulate anything you want me to articulate. That also helps for the podcast audience. Whoops. No, hold on. Wait, no, I was at the right place. I apologize. All right, here we go. So this is the game log from ESPN's website, and I hope you can see the stats there. This is for all of January.
Yeah, but let's get him in particular, not just the team. I want to get him. Huh?
These are Podziemski's stats, yeah.
Okay, so where's the total points? All right, so 9, 11, 24, 16, 19, 15. So he had a pretty good stretch there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, those 4 games that he had where he had 24, 18, 19, 14. Those, and what was his minutes in those games? I don't
30, 30, 26, 22.
Okay, there you go. So he's getting his minute. So what happened though? Then it's 3, 14, 2, 6. You see what I'm saying? This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. That's just the inconsistency of that is mind-numbing to me. I mean, I'd rather have him, he should be somewhere. Let's give him the low ball between 11 and 20. What did he get? 24. So somewhere between 11 and 24. If night after night he's getting somewhere between 11 and 24, which is a pretty big thing. That and 11 might be a little low. He'd like to have him more at 15, maybe. But still. But then look at it goes 3, then 1, 14, then 2, 6, 8. I mean. As a coach, I'm going, which guy's showing up? Is it Jekyll or Hyde showing up tonight? Okay. You don't know. And I'm sure that you did that, and I did that a little while back, looking at most of the Warriors players. You'll see a similarity in that. And of course, a lot has to do with minutes, but he's getting minutes.
He is getting
So
minutes.
the guy who's getting minutes has to be more consistent. You have to be a more consistent player if you're getting significant minutes. You have to be able to produce. And maybe in the game, okay, maybe where you only got 11 in the game. How many assists did he have in that game that he only had 11 points?
Two.
Thank you. You see? So if you got 11, you should be getting, 5, 6, 7 assists or something. You got to do something else. If the scoring's not working, do something else. Anyway, this is that makes
and Rick, look at these other numbers. So in the month of January, we've got a good sample size here now of like 13, 14 games, 11.6 points per game, which is not something to write home about. The free throw shooting. I bring this up a lot. Rick, you're one of the greatest ever. What are your third all time currently, correct?
Yeah.
In free throw shooting percentage.
I still consider myself the best. My free throws at the end, because I had a lot of years where wasn't as good. I changed my last 6 years. I shot over 92%. My last 2 years over 94%. And I brag about it because it's the only part of the game you can be selfish and help your team. So I will brag about that. Okay,
you should.
My last 2 years over 94%. I missed a total of 19 free throws in 2 seasons.
And the only 2 guys ahead of you are Steph. Who's the other guy? Mark Price.
Mark might be a little bit ahead of me.
Yeah, I think those are the only 2.
It's irrelevant. Yeah. So the bottom line is that he's not shooting great from 3-point. Right? I mean,
from the free throw line. Again, the free throw percentage in the month of January, 66.7%. Yeah, the 3-point percentage, so 37.2%. Like you say,
I can live with that. That's fine. Yeah. 37. And listen, 33 here's my cutoff is 30%.
Right.
Because 33% is 50% from twos. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And I repeat that all the time and give you credit for that.
30% or above is acceptable. When you get to 33 and above 33, then you're becoming a much better. And you get to 40, that's outstanding.
But the free throw percentage, Rick, 66.7%.
That's terrible. Yeah.
I don't, and again, it's a lot. And with Jimmy Butler out, he's second on the team in minutes. He was second tonight. He gets more minutes than Draymond. I just don't get it. I don't get it. And anyways, it's just one thing I gripe about, one of many. But Rick, but the Draymond thing, like, what do you do about it? Is it just something you got to live with for the remainder of his tenure? Like,
well, it's pretty hard. It's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. And let's say that he has gotten better. He's gotten better than what he has been in the past. Okay. But it's still a work in progress. And the sad part about it is, and I think Brent actually stated it quite well in the broadcast, that his production isn't what it used to be. So, if he's producing more for you and he's getting, 12 to 15 points a game and 8 to 10 rebounds a game, but he's not doing that anymore. Okay. And so, how much of that other stuff do you want to see happening? Which I think in this game, I'm not saying it's the one factor that cost them the victory, but I think it was a big factor. It was a big one, yeah. The Warriors in the way that they played the game in the fourth quarter. It really hurt them. I hurt them.
Well, the momentum shifted entirely after that. I felt like, I don't know about you.
Slow them down. They slow them down. All these things. They're going to check this. Now they got to check that foul and do stuff. I thought Brent did a great job, not because he's my son. I would have said the same thing, whoever the broadcaster was. And but Brent does a great job with his broadcasting work. He was really good at it before he decided that he was doing the other stuff with the Spurs, and I thought they were grooming him to be the general manager.
I think they were. I don't know what happened.
Take over RC Buford because he was doing that with their G League team, and then he got that coaching opportunity. Then Buttonholzer gets fired after 1 year, and so now Brent's out without that job, and but
again, Rick, he's your son, Brent, and this has nothing to do with your relation to him. This goes back to when I was first listening to Brent, his first stint as a broadcaster, when he was on NBA TV and calling all these games for TNT. Like, going back then, I remember like hearing him thinking, that's someone who knows his shit. And your son seems like a very level-headed person, which you need in a position of leadership, like a head coaching position. I think he'd be perfect as the next head coach of the Golden State Warriors when that time comes. But that's just me. It's just one man's opinion. Stephen Curry, by the way, just to give you the stats for a third quarter, which were phenomenal, and I feel like we're practically ruined because the Warriors had momentum, they were leading, and then Draymond has his meltdown. I think that was at the start of the fourth quarter, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I can't remember the exact moment.
But it was the beginning of the fourth quarter. That's where it all. I mean, the Warriors had that 8-point lead in the beginning.
Correct.
I think it was if I'm not mistaken, 97 to 88 or something like that, or 90, yeah, something like that. And then all of a sudden things changed and they let Dallas get back in, and then the Draymond situation happened, and that just made things worse than what it was. And they were getting free walks to the free throw line, and then free walks to the basket for layups. I mean,
yeah,
breakdown defensively. It was sad. And then the sad thing about it is Steph, in an effort to hopefully try to get him back in there, wound up taking some really bad shots. I mean, forced tough, quick shots, air ball. I mean, he knew he had to get points on the board, and they were really guarding him tough. And, who else is out there that you're going to go to try to help you get back in the game? And he wound up, I'm sure he would tell you that he took some bad shots. He knows that. He took ill-advised shots, and they didn't come close to going in.
Yeah, and actually, I looked it up.
The pod man in that court, he had 2 layups that he missed that were, in fact, one of them was really important. He had 2 layups, got all the way to the basket, had 2 missed layups, which, happens to anybody, but it didn't help the Warriors in that situation.
I don't like seeing NBA players do that. I mean, you're making millions of dollars to not miss a shot that, third graders are making on a consistent basis.
He was upset. I know he could see how upset he was. Well, one of them he thought he got fouled on. Another one
Pods missed got a dunk blocked on in the first quarter. It's just I don't get it. I don't get like the Pajemski adoration from this coaching staff, or maybe it's just one person who loves him, but I don't get that. By the way, the Draymond Green thing happened in it was later in the fourth quarter than we thought. The Warriors
about 7 minutes to go.
Yeah, it was
exactly what it was. I was watching. Unfortunately, I had a chance to watch it on Prime, and get this. It was fun too. Also, I'd get to listen to Brent, but I was. Oh no, I said, Draymond, what are you doing?
It was still a close game. It was 102-101 was the score.
Yeah.
The Warriors were trailing by just 1. Still very much in this game. There was 6:49 remaining, and then Draymond Green gets called for the loose ball foul. They upgraded that to a flagrant when they reviewed it. Draymond yelling at the refs, threatening them. So, what are you going to do? What are you going to? And that's where I thought Brent was very astute in his analysis of that. Like, Dre, just shut up. Just shut your mouth, man. Like just calm the F down. He wasn't helping the team at all doing that. And the Warriors relinquished the lead right after that. But I was going to bring up Rick Stephen Curry had an unbelievable third quarter in this game that allowed the Warriors to actually build the lead and had some momentum going into the fourth quarter. Steph made 13 points in the third quarter of this game, 3 of 4 from deep in the process, and he finishes the night as our FanDuel player of the game. Wardell still going strong, unbelievable, 38 points, 8 of 15 shooting from deep to go with 4 rebounds, just 1 assist, and 14 of 27 from the field. So 38 points.
Listen, he passing. I mean, who the hell are you going to pass it to when guys aren't shooting? He's better. And the shooting, he still shot over 50%. He wound up taking at least 3 shots that I know under normal circumstances he would never have taken if they weren't so far behind in doing it. I mean, 2 of them were just really bad shots. And so, I mean, he had a great night shooting from 3-point range, but it takes more than one guy. I mean, you don't win with one guy. And especially when you lose a 20-point score, a guy, and Jimmy was 20-something a game, he was playing at a high level, and you lose that, somebody's got to step up and take advantage of the opportunity and rise to the occasion. And the Warriors are in trouble trying to find out who that person is. As I say, I feel sorry for Steve in a way, because who does he have? I mean, it looked like you had given him a chance, and Kuminga was showing something there. So, hey, wait a second, maybe we should, let's start using them. I mean, the guy got.
Can I give you some names? This is where I'll push back on anybody who I don't feel sorry for Steve at all. He's had a privileged, wonderful life. He's making nearly 20.
But listen, as having coached and do something, when you get to the point where you're there, and all of a sudden you have a bunch of guys, and you can't rely on anybody because you don't know what you're going to get from them. That's a tough situation to be in.
Well, here are the players that I wish would have played more. And DeAnthony Melton has been one of the bright spots.
Melton would have been a guy. He played well. When I was looking at the stats and stuff, Melton certainly deserved more minutes. He was producing quite well, and yet he wasn't in the game when some of these other guys were in the game, not putting anything up on the board.
Yeah, agreed. And this is where, again, that fourth quarter, where after the Dre meltdown, I don't see how you're helping Stephen Curry, surrounding him with GP2, who has the Rick, I don't know if you're aware of this. The NBA now tracks gravity, meaning the amount of pull you have offensively from the defense inside the arc, outside the arc. And GP2 has the worst gravity in the entire NBA. Stephen Curry clearly has the best. It goes without saying. Statistically, it's verified. But so GP2's out there, Podziemski's out there, 39-year-old Al Horford's out there, and then Moses Moody is out. I just don't know how that helps Steph to roll out a lineup like that. It's who's he going to go to? And Rick, these are the minutes that I gripe about, because you're right. This team is not loaded with talent, but some players, I don't get why they're not playing. Like Quentin Post, for example, got relegated out of the starting role tonight. He only played 5 minutes, 42 seconds. Why? Trace Jackson Davis, DNP'd. Why? Will Richard, the rookie, who's actually another who I think is a bright spot. I love this kid. Only plays 13 minutes, 29 seconds. Another player well, Buddy Hield, who actually was at least spaces the floor. I'd even take Buddy over Podziemski at this point. He only plays 14 minutes, 32 seconds. And then Melton plays 23 minutes, 25 seconds, when I feel like you could have had him out there for more. He's on a minutes restriction, but he could have played 2 more minutes in that fourth quarter. One last player I want to mention as well with minutes, Guy Santos, one of the only guys who gives you size, athleticism. He only plays 16 minutes and 39 seconds. But Podziemski is special enough to get 33 minutes. I have not understood what's been going on here for 3-4 years now, Rick.
Here's the thing. Podziemski, he handles the ball and does a lot. So who else is he going to put in there to handle the basketball? Peyton. He's not a facilitator, basically.
But he's out there.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's the problem that he has. Who is it that you would have out there so that it's not all on Steph? Because Steph just has to wear himself down. If he has to handle the ball and be the guy initiating stuff, because Steph is so dangerous, he's so good at moving without the basketball and setting his man up, and it's a lot easier. And this way, he's doing all these things and stuff. In fact, 2 of the shots he took, he did it all on his own, and they were terrible shots because he's trying to shake his man and wind up. It's always going to be a difficult shot when you're doing that, as opposed to coming off a screen, making the other defense have to go ahead and make decisions whether they want to switch or not. And Steph is so clever and smart enough to be able to get his guy out of position, run him into his teammate for a screen, pop out for a shot. I'd much rather see him taking that kind of a shot than trying to get it on his own.
True. No pushback there. Rick, in your playing days, I never even I've never once heard of the concept of handling the ball being an energy sucker, being something that wears you down. I never even thought that was a thing until the last couple of years, when suddenly we started hearing this from Steve Kerr, and this emphasis on ball handling surrounding Steph to ease the pressure. Like, did that wear you down? Like, did point guards in your day?
Well, I wasn't the one handling the ball all the time.
Right.
I mean, bring it up on a fast break and do stuff. But my stuff wasn't to take a guy and go just start dribbling and doing a lot of stuff. I caught the ball on the wing. I was either going to pass the ball to somebody, or I was going to look and try to beat this guy and make a drive to the basket. And so I didn't have to use a lot of energy dribbling around through my legs, doing all this stuff, cutting here, back, forward, doing. That wasn't the game that I played.
Who was doing that for you? Was it Wilkes?
No,
who was doing?
No, it was Butch Beard, who was our point guard, who would handle and do stuff, and then Charles Johnson would come in and what was a shooting guard and all, but then Charles Dudley would come in and help run and do that, and so we just did things a little bit differently. Plus, you want to try to run as often as possible. The more up-tempo that you play, the easier it is for players today to play. They're so gifted athletically. One person doesn't have to handle the ball. That's why it's great to have people like myself. I think it was an advantage because I get a rebound, and instead if somebody's up the court, I'm throwing it to a guy open. But if not, I'm starting that break immediately. I'm getting it and I'm going. And then if somebody's there, I'm going to kick it up to them. And the more you do that, what you have to teach your players to do, what I was trying to do, is making intelligent decisions on transition. Making intelligent decisions in transition. In fact, I think that's the greatest time to be shooting 3-point shots.
Yeah.
You come down in transition 3-on-3, pull up and take the 3-point shot. You have a better, especially 3-on-2. If they're protecting the basket and you're 3-on-2, that's the time to pull up and take a 3, because you're running forward. The defense is backing up. You have a better chance of getting an offensive rebound than the defense does.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Yeah, wholeheartedly agree. I just like if ball handling is the reason why Podziemski is playing so much, I personally would rather have DeAnthony Melton taking on that role. Guy Santos has played the point guard position down in Brazil. He's a solid ball handler. Draymond Green used to take on that role extensively. I don't know. To me, dribbling a ball, Rick, like, do you think, you see a lot of great teams today no longer employing the traditional point guard? In fact, nearly every great team, like the Pistons, Cade Cunningham, he's sort of a traditional point guard, but he also scores for you. He's putting up triple doubles. He's 6'8". You look at the Nuggets, Jamal Murray's their point guard, who he resembles much more of a shooting guard than a point guard. The Rockets don't even have a point guard. They're letting Amin Thompson run the point for them. The OKC Thunder, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, looks far more like a shooting guard than a point guard, but he's their point. I guess my thing, like, when you look at the modern game, I do feel like the traditional point guard has been phased out. Your thoughts on that, sir?
Well, to be honest with you, I've always said before that if me coaching, I would prefer to I would run my 1, 2s, and 3s all be like point guards, handling the ball, bringing it up the floor, initiating the offense. I don't want to be stuck in the point that I have only one person who can initiate my offense, the point guard, and have the ball in his hands. And so you're so much more difficult to defend if you have 3 different guys that could be bringing the ball up the floor and initiating your offense and getting everybody else involved. I think that's much more dangerous and much more difficult for an opponent to be able to defend you. I mean, I know I play some teams like they're so regimented. I remember I could run back down the floor after a change if they weren't fast breaking. I can run back to the certain spot on the floor knowing the guy I'm guarding is going to run back there. He's going to go. That's where he's going. They're so predictable. It's just ridiculous. I mean, this way, run down the floor, put some defensive responsibilities on the other team. So they have to decide, running off your teammates, forcing them to make decisions, whether they want to switch or not. I mean, make more decisions, the other team to make as many decisions as possible on defense, because eventually they're going to make a mistake. And if you have intelligent players who understand the game, you will capitalize on those mistakes. And that was the success of the Warriors when they won championships.
Yeah.
They were one of the teams, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 passes, cut, move, do this. They made the other team make multiple decisions. And they're smart enough to recognize those mistakes. And you may be running a play for Steph to get him a shot up in the corner. He starts on the left side and he runs his man off of 2 guys, and he's coming off. I still always remember the series against the Cleveland Cavaliers when LeBron was there in those playoff series, and he's ready to come out. And so LeBron James and J.R. Smith didn't communicate, and they both jumped out on, I don't know if it was Steph or Clay, jumped into the corner. And what did they do? Passed inside for a dunk because they screwed up. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that happens. That's the kind of basketball that's fun to play. That's the kind of basketball that makes it difficult for a team to have to defend you. The more decisions you force the defense to make. These other teams come and they isolate and you do it. Your decision is, okay, what am I going to do? All right, am I going to double team? Where am I coming to double team from? But how many other decisions do they have to make? None. They have to make none.
Yeah. And I just don't see the playmakers here in this Warriors team. It's unfortunate. I feel for Steph. I feel like the Warriors are at a point where if Kuminga's not going to get moved, you got to at least do something, whether it's a package with like Buddy Hield.
Yeah, but now he's hurt. How long is he going to be out? Who knows how severe?
Great question. Do you mind if we hear from Steve Kerr? There's a press conference clip where Kerr was asked this question directly. And let's hear from the head coach. Rick, I'm having some issues with the NBA lately. And it's not just me. Apparently, they're hassling a lot of people for playing press conference sound bites. So forgive me if for 1 second you're not showing on the screen. I've not been flagged when the screen is this small. So Rick, we can hear you, and I'll bring you right back. But here's Steve Kerr immediately after the game. And he was asked about Kuminga and the injured ankle/knee.
Steve, that was Jonathan. I just talked to him. He said he's going to get an MRI tomorrow. It was both the knee and the ankle. We'll see how bad it is. Such a shame. He was playing great, and that definitely hurt as well. Not having him available for the second half.
There you go.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, 10 points in 9 minutes, and nice, 4 for 4 from the free throw line, and it's and finally getting a chance to play. I mean, to his credit, he came out and played well. He's obviously kept himself in good shape, despite the fact that he's been the DNP for so many games. It's just kind of sad. Like you say, when it rains, it pours. for the
Rick,
Warriors.
I'm sorry I brought you on a show like this because this is there isn't a lot to be like positive about here. But Rick, I mean, gee, I did not want to hear MRI. Those were the three letters I did not want to hear. That's concerning. That also, I mean, Rick, if we're talking like from a front office perspective, I mean, there's discussions about. I mean, Kuminga literally made a trade demand. We had Mike Dunleavy Jr. coming out 2 days ago saying that there needs to be demand for a demand to be exercised. You had his agent, Aaron Turner, shooting back saying that applying supply and demand models as someone who majored in economics, saying that in order for there to be demand, the product has to actually be something people want. And to do that, you got to play the guy. Like there's going to be no demand if he's just sitting on the bench doing nothing. Well, I don't know if I think all this is just a colossal negative news bomb there, because if he's getting MRIs, and let's pray there's nothing like coming back there reported, but that doesn't help his trade value. Jesus Christ.
That's what I said. I mean, that's a major factor for them because I was just, my thing is, that's very sad, but my whole thing was, are they going to finally give him a chance to play now that, that Butler was out and, Jimmy's gone. So this is a perfect opportunity to see what he can and can't do. As I said, though, at the start of the show, if people are just joining, it's a double-edged sword you're playing with here.
Yeah.
Because so if forget he got hurt, which kind of screws it all up, but if he shows that he really can play and he goes out and puts up the numbers and really plays well, and all of a sudden you got some real value because he's showing that, hey, he really is good. It still doesn't answer the question, can he play with Jimmy? And so then they might have made a decision, well, maybe we will. We've got the option for the next year, right? So maybe we're going to go ahead and do something. Maybe we were wrong and we're going to really utilize him and he's going to be the player that we always hoped he would be. But now, you don't even know if he's going to be a player. I mean, who knows if he tore up his knee to a point where he can't even play the rest of the season either. Oh, my God. I mean, just think about how sad that is. Shows. I mean, he's got an ankle's bad enough, but I mean, if he's got a knee that they aren't saying that there was no issue with, then they got to do an MRI. I mean, he could have a torn cartilage. He could have a little torn ligament somewhere. Who the hell knows? My God. Seriously. I mean, if you're going to MRI, that's the possibility. You could have the cartilage, which of course is the best of all things because that can get done and fixed.
That's what happened to you, right? Wasn't that your diagnosis?
Cartilage is nothing nowadays. You can be back playing in 5 days with a cartilage, depending upon the severity of it. But a ligament, that's a whole different story, and how bad is it? And what ligament is it? Is the anterior cruciate? Is it, I mean, this could be a total nightmare for the Warriors when regards to the Kuminga situation right now.
Yeah, and there's people in the chat saying, well, it's just an MRI. They do it all the time. I don't.
They do it all the time. They do it all the time to try to make sure to see what's there. But if it's to the point where they don't know right away what it was, they do the MRI just to see what it is. So obviously there is something there that they're trying to find out. The MRI is to find out the severity of what it is.
And you don't see him with ankles.
No, it's a problem. It's a real problem, but you don't know how big a problem it is. That's what the MRI is for, to find out how bad it is. It's bad because anytime you hurt your knee, it's bad. But how severe is it? So we'll all have to say a little prayer that it's just a little aggravation or whatever, a little strain, something like that, not an out-and-out tear.
We had multiple reporters. I think Anthony Slater, Dalton Johnson were two of them who came out, and I don't know if they're traveling with the team, but they made it sound like they heard it from the source directly that the injury did not feel severe. But look, like if there's one clear negative with Kuminga, and I'll happily, not happily, but I'll come out and say and state it because it's obvious. And I'm never going to sit here and cheerlead for any player who's not named Stephen Curry or Rick Barry. You're the two exceptions. I will not exhibit bias against anyone else simply because I want to be authentic and I want to be honest and true. And truth is, Rick, you and Steph were just at such a level of greatness. I don't know what I'd be negative about talking about you two, but when it comes to Kuminga, I do feel like there is one thing to criticize, which seems to be a recurring thing. And this is why I feel like he should have been playing more, just so you understand what this asset represents, what the value is of this player. And that's durability. I mean, he's getting hurt all the time. He missed 30 games because of an ankle injury last year, which derailed his career, changed the dynamic of the Warriors. It allowed Steve Kerr to see how the team would look without him, and it painted a clear enough picture where he didn't like it when Kuminga came back. The injury thing, I think, is something to be worried about. Any thoughts on that, or do you think I'm going
Well,
too
that's
far?
always a big factor. I mean, that's the big thing. I mean, obviously with Jimmy, we talked about it. I mean, if he loses a half a step and comes back fully recovered, but you may be a half a step slower. A half a step in basketball is a nightmare. That's a disaster because that changes your dynamic totally.
Especially for a young player, right, who relies on that and hasn't really developed.
I mean, maybe, in his case, not as much because he's more of a guy that'll post a guy up and move. He's not a guy that's a slasher and going to the basket. But Kuminga, it's everything.
Yeah.
If Kuminga loses a half a step with his athleticism, in fact, his biggest drawback, as I've talked about with you, even though when he was playing some, is that he doesn't look to be as offensively aggressive as he needs to be when he gets the basketball.
Right.
He's just taking it, moving it, and passing it like you're running a play. No, every time you get it, you got to look and see if your guy's playing in a crappy position, you catch the ball, you take advantage of it, screw the play, because if you can get a half a step and get into the gut of the defense, that's better than any play you're running. You've already broken down the defense and can create all kinds of opportunities because he's not a selfish player. I saw that. We talked about it in his rookie season when he was playing in the summer league. I was happy to see some of the passes and things he made because he can see the floor, and he's not a selfish player. But he's too passive offensively when he plays. With his athleticism and working on it, his shot was getting better. The three-point shot was better. But with his quickness and stuff, my God, he should get a jump shot anytime he wants.
Now you have the pushback on that concept of Kuminga needing to be more aggressive. Evan Isticks in her chat writes that if JK does play like that, he often is pulled. His agent told me himself that a huge reason why you don't see that level of aggression is because Steve Kerr doesn't like it. He thinks when Kuminga kind of tries to take over, it takes away from the team ethos.
It's a difference of trying to take over as a difference in taking advantage of opportunities. Because it's kind of like what happened in Boston, right? With Tatum and Brown. They were trying to create things, forcing things, and they cost them dearly. They lost to the Warriors because of that. Okay. They got better and smarter. I'm not saying you go out and try to take over by going and trying to make things happen. You take what the defense gives you, and you have to be looking for those opportunities, not just catching the ball and passing it and moving it. You catch the ball, and if you see that you can make a quick move and get to the basket, you do that.
Yeah.
You don't just throw the ball somewhere, especially if you made a few shots and you're going hot. Now you take a couple of quick shots, boom, and take a jumper. And what coach is going to be upset with you if you're scoring points? Right? What they got upset with in Boston is the guys were turning the ball over.
And it's like you said, Kuminga, since the Jimmy Butler injury, he's played 29 minutes, scored 30 points in those 29 minutes. He was looking really good, Rick. It was something to be excited for. If this injury is serious, Rick, I'm going to ask you for help here. What can we, and when I say we, I mean members of Dub Nation, where's the optimism here? What is there to look forward to? Is it just Steph? Are we just going to basically
pray that he just has a minor injury and that he'll be able to get back soon enough? And there's a lot of season left for him to get a chance to get out there and maybe show the Warriors what he is capable of. And if nothing else, even if they decide that they still don't like his fit or whatever it is, at least they get something of value from him because he's proven that he can play. Right? He can prove that he can play. I mean, it's just hard to believe that, you're paying a guy $25 million and he doesn't play.
What do you think is going on behind the scenes there, Rick? Because
I have absolutely no idea. I don't get involved. I don't ask questions. And, Mike Jr.'s got to deal with it along with Joe and whoever and Steve. I mean, they got to try to figure out whatever it is, but it's obvious that they don't like him.
Well, when you say they, I don't know if that includes Joe, Rick. Like, I don't get the vibe from Joe, and I feel like Mike Dunleavy Jr.'s extension.
Well, I said he's involved in it. Now, how much say he has? I mean, obviously, he has the ultimate say. It's his freaking team. So
I feel like it, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, because again, all we're doing is just trying to read the tea leaves here. Joe hasn't done an interview in months. Mike Dunleavy Jr. Did a press conference briefly the other day and didn't provide much elaboration or detail. But in your opinion, Rick, if Joe and Mike aren't sold on him, why is he still on the team? That's the only reason why you got to judge people based on your actions. And between what Joe has said about Kuminga, liking him, with the exception of a recent story where
That's
an anonymous source,
that's the only reason why he's still there.
it's because of Joe, right?
Joe likes him some.
Yeah.
Obviously, Steve doesn't.
That's what I'm trying to say. So, Rick, you've got a direct line to Joe. If you ever feel like you want to call him, I will shut up.
If I did, I wouldn't come on the air and talk about it. Okay, so
please do. Yeah, please do. And
I would never ever do that. No, I would never do that. He likes him, and it's his decision.
No. What I'm saying, Rick, is if you decide to call him up, because Joe does interviews, he's not afraid of the press. Let's bring him on this show, or if you ever decide to launch something new, or whatever you want to do.
I don't think he's going to get on and talk about this situation.
Right.
I think he'll.
It's a shame.
I think he'll. I don't think he would do that. I don't think
it's a shame.
The bottom line is you can only judge it by what's happened. I mean, Kuminga was put on the bench, getting DNAs at $25 million, who was one of your top draft picks. And you had a whole big scenario going on in the off season, and there's not a lot of love lost between ownership and the player and the agent. So it's not a good situation. And to Jonathan's credit, to come out what he did, I mean, the numbers, he performed exceptionally well. Like you said, 30 points in 29 minutes. The times that he played, I mean, how many players average a point a minute? Right?
Rick, this is a question that I know no one can answer clearly, but a lot of people have raised this point. I do a show once a week every Friday with a professor from UC Berkeley named Armando Laura, who, side note, is a huge fan of yours. He's a huge Warriors fan, period. And I agree with the sentiment that when you place the amount of burden and physical pressure on certain athletes, like in Jimmy Butler's case, he was playing the 4 routinely, which is out of position for him. Sometimes you'd see him as a small ball 5. The vision of the front office was to have him and Kuminga playing, partly to alleviate the pressure physically and otherwise from Jimmy Butler. So there was some additional help there. Steve Kerr doesn't think it's a fit, just DNPs him. And now we see Jimmy Butler out for the year. And who knows how long that's going to extend to next year with the torn ACL. In your opinion, does that extra pressure levied on Jimmy Butler playing out of position, carrying on the weight figuratively and literally in terms of scoring, the overall performance workload, does that play a factor in a serious injury like that, given he's 36?
You're using the word that I think is the most overused word in the sports lexicon is pressure. There is no pressure when you have confidence. What's happening to Jimmy Butler is Jimmy Butler is asked and having placed a lot of responsibility on his shoulders to do things that are out of the norm. And so it's a matter of whether or not he has confidence himself and ability to do that. And so if you have confidence in your abilities to do what you're asked to do, there is no pressure. There's enormous responsibility on your shoulders. And it may be a situation that he's not as comfortable having to do some of those other things. And if that's the case, then you have to go to the coach and say, coach.
But that's not Rick. I'm sorry. I wasn't clear then. When I said pressure, I meant literally, like physically. What I'm asking is the pressure physically of carrying all that weight, literal weight?
Well,
sometimes.
No when you kidding me? He's freaking, how old is he? Come on, you're in great shape. I can freaking play and run all day. I mean, what's no pressure physically? That's why this load management bullshit. I mean, the load management shit. I wanted to play. I mean, I averaged, I think, one season 46 or 7 minutes a game. I averaged over 40 a bunch of times, and I hated it when we blew people out because that means I wasn't playing. What the hell? I signed up to play. I didn't sign up to sit in the bench for a whole quarter every game. I mean, so yeah. I mean, no, there's no physical pressure. It's what you're having to do is you're being put with a lot of responsibility to do a lot of things that you might not normally do, but you got to believe in yourself enough and you go out and you try to do it as well as you possibly can and believe that you will do it. And then you learn from the mistakes that you make, you get better at what you're doing. But if that's what they're asking for, then you go out and you try to do it. Now, if it's asking something beyond what your capabilities are and you don't feel that you can do it, there's nothing wrong with going to the coach and say, coach, you're asking me to do stuff that I'm not comfortable doing that. I'm really not that good at doing that. I don't know why you want me to do that. If you want to get something extra, why don't we try this? Let me try to do this. I can, but don't ask me to do something that I don't feel confident enough that I can do it. You gotta have honesty.
And the question more so was if to give you a comparison, like let's say in your playing days, you had Al Addles or one of your other coaches come to you and say, Rick, I want you to defend Artis Gilmore tonight. I want you to defend.
Are you out of your mind?
But that's my point is. My point is that's what was asked of Jimmy Butler on a nightly basis.
Yeah, and I would do it. I say, fine. How are we going to do it? I'm going to go off. I'll try to front him. I can't play behind him. That was my biggest thing when I had to play a guy that was a big, strong guy doing stuff. Right. My thing was I try to use my quickness. So I worked hard to try to get in front of him, make him throw lob passes and stuff. I'm sure as hell not going to go stand behind him because he's going to overpower me. Right?
And my point is, I think the physical rigor of routinely on a night-by-night basis, having to deal with that could have helped break the body down. You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
No,
Fair
I
enough.
don't. I don't really think that's the case. I think what breaks the body down is a lot of these younger players coming up and having these injuries is that they played out like AAU basketball when they go to these freaking tournaments,
right?
And they play 2 games on a Friday night when they get there, or 1, and then 4 games on Saturday and some more games on Sunday. And especially when they're young and they're 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, that's putting a lot of responsibility, stuff on your body that I think breaks you down. I mean, that definitely physically will break you down doing that. And that's why I think you see a lot of these younger players who are more susceptible to injuries, even though, thank God, they have great training. But at that age, are they really at the point where they're doing the kind of lifting and some of the stuff you don't even want to do some of that lifting at that early age? And are they then getting the opportunity to have somebody who really knows what the hell they're doing by doing the kind of lifting that's going to build up the muscles to protect your joints and your knees and your ankles and what have you? So there's so much sophistication in that going on right now that I think that AAU stuff I'm not a big fan of that.
And that premise has been echoed for decades in baseball, right? I mean, because all the Tommy John injuries started emerging, and they trace that back to overusage from youth athletics, and what you're saying is with the AAU stuff and the fact that a lot of parents are putting their kids through this rigor at a really young age, that could be catching up with them at an older age. Have you noticed to me, Rick, the speed of the game is night and day from what it was. And I don't know if it's just the modern athletes.
Well, it's the athleticism of the players are off the charts because of the technology. Like if I played today, I'd be faster, stronger, quicker, more endurance. Right. I would be a far superior. I was a pretty damn good athlete and still am. I mean, but I would have been even better. That's why people say, "Oh, Rick, you guys couldn't play today." I said, "What, are you out of your mind?" I said, "You know how much better I would be if I played today? It'd be crazy how much better I would be." I tell people, you know what they did for us? What's that? Nothing.
Can you read what James Bowers in our chat wrote right there? He goes, "There was no load management back in the day." What is this load management bullshit?
Yeah, I'm with them on that one. That's crazy. I mean, but I understand because they're paying so much money for these guys, and what they're afraid of is exactly what you saw here. Getting hurt. And breaking down. That's what it's about. But I didn't think about that. I just wanted to play, and whatever God had in store, He had in store. So I'm just, it's a crazy situation that exists in sports today, and I'm just sad that Jimmy got hurt, and I'm sad about the Kuminga situation that they couldn't have put something together because we've been so spoiled over the last decade or so with what the Warriors have been able to do. They've been so much fun to watch, and last year, I thought they were going to really make something out of last season, and that was so sad to see Steph get hurt. I think they really could have done something special last season. And
that's another example where
I wasn't as optimistic this season, even though they were starting to play a little better, but they had all these games at home, and they're supposed to win at home anyway, right? So
against the East,
because of the fact I just don't. The inconsistency. I get back to what I've been saying here now for weeks with you guys is that you don't know what you're going to get from the players on this team. And it's very frustrating for me to watch and see. I don't know what team's going to show up.
Yeah.
And then you see what happens, and then they'll play well and do it. Then all of a sudden they lose their focus or whatever, and they have a nice 8-point lead at the beginning of the fourth quarter, and then they blow that lead, and then Draymond goes crazy and changes everything, and they wind up losing the game that they could conceivably have won. And then Kuminga gets hurt. I really do think had he not gotten hurt and played the way he was playing, that they wouldn't have lost this game.
Agreed. They were rolling. They look good. Everything about tonight. I mean, you look at the net rating, for example, which when you look at it in terms of groupings, tells a story. And tonight, and this is where Steph and Dre, who are in the all-time lead, they're like all-time leaders for the net rating stat, meaning the points the team's scoring when they're on and off the court. Like tonight, Steph minus 24. The only player worse, GP2 minus 32, Draymond Green minus 15. And then you look at the guys leading the charge tonight before, it's unfortunate because you had Kuminga. Oh, so first of all, D'Anthony Melton was a plus 22 in this game. Kuminga was a plus 18 in this game. Pajemski, when he was playing with them, was doing some good things. He ended up with a plus 10, which kind of tells a story. When he was playing with those guys, they were winning. When he was playing with Steph and Dre, they were losing. So there were a few players in there and those numbers kind of back up what you were saying, that when Kuminga was in there for that brief run, it was looking good. And I really like the idea of Melton and Kuminga playing together. Like that was starting to emerge. One final question from the audience, Rick. I know we're going late here. Throwaway Palon is asking, do you think Draymond should be playing power forward and not center? Draymond himself has said publicly he doesn't like playing center, but he'll do whatever the coach asks him to do. And tonight he was the starting five again. What are your thoughts on that?
He's a 4. He's not a 5. I mean, the thing is if he had the ability to go out and be a more consistent shooter from the outside and create a problem for the matchup there and take a guy outside, but nobody's going to guard him. I mean, if he goes out high, 3-point range, nobody's going to guard him. I mean, that was the biggest problem that they had when they had Looney and him and against that Lakers. I remember a couple of seasons ago. I mean, the Lakers back the middle. I mean, they just didn't guard those guys. So, that's an issue that they have. And then sometimes, Post has played well. He can shoot the 3. He can space the floor, which I think is good. When Kuminga's in the game, he should, with a guy like Post is great because that opens up the floor for a guy to use his athleticism and get to the basket. Even Trace, the same situation. At least he provides, some semblance of defense to protect the rim a little bit. I mean, but this small ball stuff, it can only take you so far. I mean, you're not going to win a championship playing small ball. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't think it's ever happened in the past. I don't think it will ever happen in the future. Just the same way. I never thought that you'd ever win with a Muggsy Bogues or a Spud Webb as one of your key starters. I mean, that's just not going to happen.
Rick, you coined, I've been calling it Hobbit Ball. You coined the lollipop guild. I still laugh when you say that. And I'm with you. I'm 100% with you.
It's like having the Oompa Loompas.
I don't get it. Rick, you're about to go to the Amazon
I'm going to go catch some fish and pray that.
But let's give some love to your sponsors before you go. You got a bunch of them, right? You got Titan Pickleball, you got Medissa Leaf, Go Sleeve. Is your pickleball cruise still up for auction?
Yeah. Go, dailytravels.com, and check that out. I got a pickleball cruise on the Royal Caribbean, April 10th to the 15th, which is going to be a lot of fun because we can play on the ship because they have indoor pickleball there, and it's going to be cool. And then we're going to play at the Cabo San Lucas Pickleball Club while we're on that trip. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And I've got another thing we'll talk to when I do another show with that, or I'm coming up with something in the travel world that is the best thing I've ever seen. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. That'd be kind of cool. Not just for pickleball, but this is just for all kinds of amazing travel opportunities.
Well, I feel like Jonathan Kuminga, this is the QR code for Go Sleeves. And I got graphics to go along with these. Go Sleeves is something I think Kuminga should start putting on regularly. In addition to maybe being a little more cautious about stepping on feet. It's something he's doing way too often. It's why these injuries keep happening. But you're still a Go Sleeve, correct? That's still one of your...
If he has a knee issue, I already did this. I was a little disappointed. I don't think the Warriors ever used in their trainers years ago. If somebody's got something with their knee, like even saw Steph wearing something, this has got kinesio tape built into it. Everybody's heard about kinesio tape. This is built into it. These are the greatest things ever. There's not one person that I've gotten to wear Go Sleeves who's my pickleball people who all said, God, this is the best thing I've ever had. And the Warriors should definitely get these guys into some Go Sleeves because they're good for rehab and all kinds of other good stuff. And, if Kuminga did something to his knee, he should definitely, and we'd be happy to get something to him. I'm happy to, get him a Go Sleeve to wear. He should wear it. I mean, without question, he should be wearing it.
By the way, Julian Bashir in our chat, who's been on fire. Sorry for the interruption of giving the ad reads, but it wasn't the starters tonight because Guy Santos can dunk. But the closing 5, I think it's safe to say none of the 5, maybe Moses Moody might be an exception, but 4 of the 5 players on the court in the fourth quarter for a chunk of minutes, They can't even dunk the ball that well, Rick.
Well,
That's not a good look.
Dunking just means you can jump. Dunking's I couldn't dunk hardly at all. I dunk sometimes.
You still could, though. I mean,
but what is dunking? What does dunking mean? Yeah, sure. Would I like to have been able to? Yeah, I know I'm beating my guy, and then I had to trick the second guy. But these guys go and they can jump over the second guy, so.
I think it's more symbolic of just how small the rosters are and unathletic. Like the players are out there. Just it's easy to score buckets when the defense is a lot smaller than you. If there's Smurfs in front of you, I think you can just do whatever the hell you want. Pretty much.
It's also easier to score buckets when nobody plays defense. It doesn't protect the rim.
That too. So Go Sleeves, is Medicinal Leaf still a client?
Yeah, Medicinal Leaf is good. RB24 is the code. So check it out, RB24. And that's some great stuff there for everybody to take advantage of. But those are great. Medicinal Leaf with all the cannabinoid products are pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
And we're coming out with a new aloe product that they have that's going to be good. That's going to replace one of the ones that we did before. So yeah, those are all good things. And the same thing for Titan Pickleball. If you're into that, you can go to Titan Pickleball. It's a TPRB 24.
Which begs the question: How are you doing in tournaments, sir?
Well, I'm done. I'm freaking done. I just won the Triple Crown in the U.S. Seniors in December. So singles, mixed doubles, and men's doubles. So I've won the Triple Crown. It's to the point now. There's only one guy who just turned 80 that it gives me competition in singles, Bob Costanza, and so I may hopefully get to play in another tournament so I can play against him and try to beat him, because that would be my goal now, is to beat him in singles, because he's really good. I thought I was going to give him a good battle last time. I did play him for the first time when he turned 80. I'm a few years older than he is, and I was up 8-4 and I wound up losing, so I was not happy with myself for that. But yeah, so I'm not going to play in all the ones, because it's almost becomes an ordeal. They take forever, and you pay money, and then I got to be away, and I'd rather be home with my wife, and because she's amazing, and so I'd rather be around her and spend time with her than sitting around waiting hours between matches. Sometimes if we get rain, like one we didn't get done, it was there for 14 hours.
Oh,
14 hours.
What did you do for 14 hours while you waited?
Crazy.
And did you say Bob?
It's still a great sport, and it's coming a long way. Look at Anna Lee Waters, the greatest women's player ever. She was best player at 15 years of age. Now she just signed a huge contract with Franklin, and I guess a deal with Nike. So she's become a millionaire. God bless her. Good for her. Wow. And I've met a lot of the pro pickleball players, played in exhibitions with them, and it's fun. It's such a great sport. I love playing it. In fact, I just had 2 people today reaching out to me to play tomorrow morning, but I'm leaving for my trip, and somebody else just called me if I can play on Saturday. And unfortunately, I have to say no. So I'll be a little rusty when I come back, because I'll be gone for like 10 days. So my pickup,
beautiful.
So I'm gonna have some work when I get back.
Did you say Bob Costanza or George Costanza?
All right, let's just stay calm here. Don't get all crazy on me.
I can't imagine. No, I can't imagine. I listened to that. He's great. I can't imagine that George Costanza has in real life would be very good at pickleball.
Anyways, any excuse to play that, I will find it. So TitanPickleball.com, use the promo code RBTP24 for a discount. That's the QR code right there. We mentioned Medicinal Leaf. We mentioned Go Sleeves. Is Aloe MD still a thing? We're
replacing the Aloe MD, because this is going to now be a part of Medicinal Leaf with a new product we're coming
cool.
out.
Okay, great.
The Aloe, that code is good for anything on any of those sites. That code is good for a discount on any product that's on the sites, and there's other products that are there.
And Rick, you always tell people this. It's the truth. They just can't handle it.
You can't handle the truth.
You just can't. It's just
it really is so freaking true. It's unbelievable, especially in today's world. But the thing about in today's world is that everybody freaking lies. So that's the problem. It's not a matter of handling the truth. They can't handle the truth, and so they all freaking lie. Anyway, don't even get me started with politics, please.
Chris in Florida, near where you are, writing, I take Rick Barry coaching this team via Zoom at this point, meaning you can just stay at home, Rick. Just literally check in with your team every once in a while on Zoom.
It's such a great game. Basketball is a great game, too, and it's not that complicated. Like I say, I watch and see things a little bit differently, and my whole big rant about how teams are defending the three-point shot is just beyond my comprehension, that almost all the teams don't do what I talked about. Why would you not do that? I just don't understand it. It just, because we're all into the statistics and the analytics of stuff. Statistically, it makes sense to do what I'm saying to do, right?
It does. You're absolutely
God.
right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right, Rick. And you're currently in Florida, which means the flight to the Amazon is shorter than it would be if you're here in California.
It's still a long trip. I have to, it's two long trips. I'm going to Panama City, then Panama City to Manaus. So yeah, I'll be on an airplane for quite a while with a big layover, which kind of sucks. But yeah, no, it's a pretty long trip. And then it's another hour and a half by float plane to get to the middle of the jungle where we'll be.
Wow.
Yeah, it's cool.
Wow. I love the
bucketlist.com. Go there and check it out. If you're into fishing and especially if you love to fly fish, this is definitely, it's a true bucket list trip that happens to be with a company called Bucket List Fly Fishing. So, and Rob Anderson, who owns it and runs it, yeah, it's special. It's really special. And then you see the thing with the trip on the Royal Caribbean for Eric.
This is amazing.
Yeah,
this is amazing. So the Black Friday sale ended, but it doesn't mean you can't.
They still got a special running, and there's some other part of the cruise that some other people are going to be a part of it. Anyway, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully it's going to happen. I love cruises. I absolutely love to cruise. I mean, that's one of my favorite things to do. I'd love to be able to go unpack one time and see all these various different places. You can choose the food. You can go to the buffet if you want, or go to other restaurants. And most of the trips all have soft serve ice cream machines, which I absolutely love.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I love soft serve ice cream. So that's
hell yeah. That sounds amazing. So folks, if you're interested, April 10th through the 15th, this coincides with the final week of the NBA season, the Royal Caribbean pickleball cruise. I can't think of a better distraction from this Warriors season than going on a pickleball cruise with one of the greatest players in NBA history, a class act, a genuinely good dude. You could play Can people in this cruise actually play pickleball with you?
Oh yeah, no, we're going to play. We have instructors there. We're going to have pickleball lessons, and we'll have some pickleball tournaments, and I'll play with the people there. We'll have lunch or dinner, and spend time. We're just going to schmooze around and whatever.
Love it. That's incredible. So there it is right there, and the website is daily-travels.com.
Well, you can just go dailytravels.com. DALEY dailytravels.com. You don't need the dash.
Fix that. Good.
Yeah,
good. Okay.
That was the old link, but it's just dailytravels.com, and you can learn about it.
Gotcha. Beautiful. And Rick, have a safe trip. Let's close that up. To the Amazon. I can't thank you enough for joining the program tonight.
I just wish you were under better circumstances. Let's all say a prayer for Jonathan that he's doesn't have a serious injury, and we can get him back playing, and hopefully have more fun things to talk about in the weeks ahead.
Simon's asking if someone buys this cruise, can they play basketball with you?
Could they play basketball with
me?
Could
they play a one-on-one game?
I'm not going to play one-on-one. I'll play pickleball with somebody, but I'm playing one-on-one basketball. Shit. Why would I want to do that? No, that's too easy to get hurt doing that. I watch it too.
I love it. Fair enough.
Inside the enclosed area, I'm pretty sure they have a basket, and I could certainly watch them shoot a couple of hoops with them or something. Yeah, but I'm not going to play one-on-one with anybody in basketball.
That's fair enough. And
I'll play one-on-one in pickleball.
And tomorrow at approximately 5, maybe 6, it's happy hour. Armando Laura joins the show. Anyone in the audience who wants to join us, we'll do that tomorrow. But for tonight, Rick, I can't thank you enough. I love you, sir. It's always a pleasure. And any final thoughts? Anything we missed?
Yeah, go back and go tonight and go walk your dog.
Done. I'm gonna go walk the dog right now. Have a safe trip, sir. People can follow you on Instagram and all socials. It's the same handle @Rick24Berry. I'm looking forward to following along on your adventures. The fish you catch on these trips is incredible. It's rainbow.
No, peacock bass.
Peacock bass. Yeah, and they're colorful.
They're awesome. Yeah. All right. Take care, buddy.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.